The extended universe of the Alien series has found its way into stories spanning all across different forms of media. Perhaps the most compelling in recent years has been the audio drama productions produced by Audible. With select stories adapted for the medium, Audible has put together some really impressive adaptations with serious talent behind them. Currently, there are 4 that have been made, and today I wanted to give a ranking of these audio dramas with my own thoughts on how they contribute to our beloved series. To be fair enough, I think they're all worthwhile, but I also think that they each cater to different tastes in different ways for different Alien fans. They each take different approaches in adapting their source material and each stand alone in their own ways purely as an audio drama. So while it's hard to say which are exactly the best and on what terms, it all comes down to my personal preference, and surely yours may vary. These are my rankings of the Alien audio dramas.
Have you ever heard of the Nostromo? Does the name Ellen Ripley mean anything to you? Or Amanda Ripley McLaren?
It did feel as if something awoke, a long way beneath me, something that knew me.
Is she the reason they hate you? Can they somehow sniff her on you?
Maybe. Maybe they marked her somehow.
I'm out! Anybody!
Number 4. Alien Sea of Sorrows. Of the 4 audio dramas, I'd be willing to bet that most fans would end up ranking Sea of Sorrows here, and I'm no different. It's not that it's bad, in fact I quite enjoy it, but it just so happens that it's the least memorable of the quartet. But maybe that's because it actually takes the most risks as a whole. This story doesn't have the added benefit of the others that bring back familiar characters that fans have a built-in affection for. It opts instead to present an entirely original set of characters to continue with the story elements previously explored. And in a rare move, this is also one of the few extended universe stories that actually takes place after the events of Alien Resurrection. It was based on the novel of the same name by James A. Moore, taking place in the year 2497. The novel was presented as official canon by 20th Century Fox and Titan Books, making this the furthest out series of events in the Alien universe timeline. That alone is compelling enough to see what has happened in a post-Alien Resurrection world, and quells the concerns of any fans who believed Weyland-Yutani's Walmart buyout was the nail in their coffin. Weyland-Yutani is very much a returning presence in this story, and in the absence of familiar characters, it's a welcome one. The new main character here is Alan Decker, an empath with telepathic abilities and a genetic connection to WY person of interest, Ellen Ripley. With his abilities and his connection to both Ripley and the aliens, the company forces Decker into a mission to investigate the possibility of further xenomorph specimen procurement. The results are about what you can expect, but a tense and entertaining story unfolds nonetheless. John Chancer provides the voice of Decker in a very strong performance that leads us through the horrors that unfold. Also excellent in the role of a new character is Stockard Channing, playing Andrea Rollins, a figure within Weyland-Yutani intent on fulfilling the company's plans. It's certainly a production worth checking out, full of curiosities and enough alien carnage to satisfy the needs of the series' fans, but of the 4, I'd say this may be the least essential.
You know, I was almost beginning to feel the same way about these memories. But then I heard that there are now colonists on LV-426. Now I know it's only a matter of time before my nightmare becomes theirs.
Oh my god. There's something alive in there.
Look, let's just close it back up.
Russ? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, Russ!
Number 3. Alien River of Pain. Based on Christopher Golden's novel, the audio drama of Alien River of Pain depicts the story of Hadley's Hope's xenomorph outbreak. The events mostly taking place off-screen, in James Cameron's Aliens, have always been a subject of great interest to fans. Here we can experience them play out from the colony's early days to the desperate final stand that bridges into the film. Rebecca Newt Jordan, played by Mary Doherty, gets a good spotlight in this story, as does her parents, Anne, played by Anna Friel, and Russ, played by Mark Warren. I think some of the strongest aspects come from the family dynamic of the Jordans, and their struggles with living on this colony in the hopes of finding some prosperity. Needless to say, that doesn't end well, and the story becomes a tragedy. There is, however, another spotlighted character that occupies a great deal of the story and becomes immersed in most of the latter action that takes place. This is a new character, Damien Brackett, the commanding officer of the Marine installation on the colony, who just so happens to be an old flame of Anne's. Colin Salmon provides the voice for Brackett, and he does a terrific job. To be fair, his performance is the strongest of the entire cast. Salmon is certainly no stranger to the Alien series, having previously appeared in Paul Anderson's film version of Alien vs. Predator. While the majority of the cast includes different actors in the roles, it's pretty nice to see some returning members from the 1986 film. Colony Administrator Al Simpson is voiced by actor Mac McDonald, reprising his same role from the special edition version of the film. Even William Hope makes a cameo, returning as Lieutenant Gorman, in a few scenes that focus on Ripley's side of the story during the colony's final days. It's a real treat for the fans, especially for fans of the second film. And really the only reason I don't have this ranked higher is because I just happen to enjoy the other two a little bit more. I'll say this though, if I could only recommend one of these audio dramas for anyone who might be curious to check them out and see what they're all about, it would be this one. And I think River of Pain works the best in the audio drama format. Since we're dealing with a lot of characters and locations that we already know from Aliens, it's the most easy to visualize and to immerse yourself into when listening along. So if you are new to the audio dramas, and maybe aren't sure if it's exactly your thing, this actually may be the best place to start.
Holy fuck!
No!
Starling!
No!
Hypergun!
No!
Got her!
No! Newt?
Bishop, Weapons Division intends to develop the alien. What the fuck is this?
An airborne breeding process triggering some kind of parthenogenesis.
She got infected.
She's a fucking alien.
UPP Radina Station, this is Weyland Yutani Anchor Point. Come in, please.
Number 2. Alien 3. William Gibson's Alien 3 is the sequel that could have been, but 20th Century Fox decided ultimately to go in a different direction. The unproduced screenplay has long been a curiosity among fans and has experienced a really exciting resurgence in recent years. It's been adapted into a novel, a comic series, and of course this audio drama. This story shifts the series' focus from Ripley onto returning Aliens characters Hicks and Bishop as they work to eliminate a xenomorph threat on Weyland Yutani's Anchor Point station. The other adaptations were wonderful and I really enjoyed them, but clearly the biggest attraction here is that they were able to get Michael Biehn and Lance Henriksen to reprise their roles, now over 30 years later. This audio drama gives us the best possible idea of how a movie version may have played out. Since it's based on a script, not a novel like the others on this list, it's a noticeably shorter production. In this case, I think it's absolutely fine since it's the length of a movie, and with enough imagination or aid from visuals provided by the comic, you get what feels damn near close to a cinematic experience. I was really impressed with how this was put together. And of course, it's an absolute joy to have Biehn and Henriksen back as Hicks and Bishop in vocal performances. While I still very much enjoy the David Fincher film of Alien 3, I think this works well enough as a substitute for those who may have been let down by it, and by the deaths of some fan-favorite characters. Here, they're brought back in all their glory in an alternate audio drama sequel, and it feels almost as good as an actual movie could have been. Maybe I would have ranked it first, but I have to admit it has some hindrances in being limited to audio only. One of the key elements is the hybrid xenomorph which is introduced into this story, but obviously it can only be heard, not seen. Biehn and Henriksen sound noticeably older, of course, which maybe breaks the illusion just a little bit. Not that we can fault them, and not that I would rather have their voices edited to sound younger either. I'm very glad they didn't do that, actually, and I just so happen to have a slight preference for my number 1 ranking on this list. Overall, I think this is a great adaptation, a great achievement, and justice served for a screenplay that spent decades in limbo.
Just before Parker finished him off, Ash told us we had his sympathies.
Bastard.
But before that happened, somewhere along the line, he'd already uploaded his AI into the Narcissus. I believe he's the reason I'm here. I think he kept me floating around out there, waiting for another sign of these aliens.
But I know where you are now, Ash.
Yes, Ripley.
Number 1. Alien Out of the Shadows. This may be a little bit of a controversial choice for number 1, since I know there are plenty of fans who don't care for this story and find it a little hard to swallow. But it is my personal favorite of the audio dramas, which I find to be the strongest story-wise and production-wise. The premise of Out of the Shadows is that there's unfinished business between Ripley and the android Ash. And Ash is actually the reason for the Narcissus drifting through space for a span of decades, rather than years, having uploaded his consciousness into the ship's computer. Ripley is discovered by the crew of the vessel Marion, who have discovered xenomorphs in the mines of planet LV-178, and another fight for survival ensues. So this is a midquel, taking place between Alien and aliens. This is another story of Ripley against the aliens. I think the leap of faith you have to take with its contrivances is worth it to have another story like this. We may never get an Alien 5, but we'll always have Out of the Shadows, which I hold in great value. It was based on the novel by Tim Leben, which is one kind of experience, but this adaptation brings it to another level. While unfortunately Sigourney Weaver doesn't provide Ripley's voice, we have Laurel Lefkow, who's absolutely spot on and captures so much of the spirit of Ripley and gets so much right about this character. In one form or another, Lefkow actually provides voice work as Ripley in all 4 of these productions, and each time she's delivered a convincing Ripley. Ash, of course, is also an integral character in this story, represented by text in the novel, but here he is voiced. It's not Ian Holm reprising his role, and it's not a sound-alike. In this case, the brilliant casting choice was made to have Rutger Hauer take on the role of Ash. It's fair enough to have a different voice since it's a different form of Ash. It's purely his AI, living inside a computer without a body, and slowly beginning to lament that fact. Hauer is no stranger to playing robots with existential issues, so he was able to bring a certain depth and tragedy to Ash that I never thought possible and never really expected. It's a truly great performance, perhaps the strongest acting within all of these productions. With that, we get a very good and very suspenseful story of survival against the aliens, but it also goes a little bit deeper and explores the relationship between Ripley and Ash. I found it surprisingly moving. I found that leap of faith easy to take and was rewarded with a great alien story. The director of all these audio dramas was Dirk Maggs, a tremendous talent who coordinates with expert precision exactly what's needed to create the strongest audible representations of these stories. It's actually been a while since one of these productions, and I'd like to think it's because Maggs has been busy at work with the Sandman series and not because they've run their course. I'd love to see him return to the world of Alien and offer further adaptations, of which there are many enticing possibilities. It would be incredible to get audio dramas of the recent novels such as The Cold Forge, Phalanx, Into Charybdis, and Infiltrator, or even something following the Dark Horse lead and adapting the original screenplay of Alien, which could be very much worthwhile. I know I'm not alone in thinking that. But those are my rankings of the audio dramas. It's purely my own personal preferences, but honestly I like them all and have listened to each of them over quite a bit. Before I leave you today though, there is something I'd like to talk about. Just to be clear, this isn't a paid promotion or any kind of partnership or anything like that. I'm just excited about it and feel it's worth spreading the word to those who may not know. Recently, Audible has enhanced its services and has begun to offer a catalog for members called Audible Plus. There are certain titles to choose from included with Audible Plus that you don't have to buy with credits, and can either stream or add to your library subject to however long the title's availability in the catalog may be. The reason I bring this up is because among those titles are the 4 audio dramas I've been discussing in this video. Out of the Shadows, River of Pain, Sea of Sorrows, and Gibson's Alien 3 are all available through Audible Plus, so you can listen to them for free with your Audible membership. I've also noticed that currently the catalog also makes available the full, unabridged audiobooks of a few other Alien-related titles. This includes Alien the Cold Forge, Alien Isolation, the novelization of the game, Alien's Bug Hunt, Alien Covenant Origins, the prequel to Alien Covenant, the novelization of Alien Covenant, as well as Predator titles, including Hunters and Hunted, the prequel to The Predator, and the novelization of The Predator. While certain titles may be limited to certain availability during certain periods, as with any kind of streaming service, I'd imagine, like with any kind of streaming service, the original content is likely to stick around as service mainstays. Since the Alien audio dramas are Audible originals, I'd say it's a good bet they're always going to be available with Audible Plus. So if you happen to be an Audible member, this is pretty much a no-brainer, and these are titles well worth checking out if you haven't already. If you're not an Audible member, if that's not really your thing, but you are interested in these 4 alien audio dramas, then I'm sure you can still find a free trial for a month if that's still something they do. Again, this isn't a promotion, I don't have any kind of promo code for you to use or anything like that, but I'd say they're easy enough to find. These titles can be easily finished throughout the period of a month, and if you can do it for free, that sounds like a win to me. So that's my PSA on Audible Plus. If you've already listened to these audio dramas, I'd love to know your own personal rankings. Please comment below and let me know how you'd rank these productions, and let me know what you'd personally like to see next as an audio drama adaptation. As always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and be sure to subscribe for all the latest videos from the channel. A very special thanks goes out to Ronni, Jensen, XenoShadowMorph, Alyssane, and Grizz4756, Queen Tiers of the Patreon Hive. Thank you to John Griggs, the Hive's Praetorian. A very special thanks goes out to the one and only Lady Anne in the Ellen Ripley tier of Excellence, and in the role of Weyland Yutani Executive, NanashiFx. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon page for exclusive posts and contests. In the meantime, you can catch up with Alien Theory over social media. Follow @alien_theory on Twitter and @alientheoryyt on Facebook and Instagram for more. And until next time, this is Alien Theory, signing off.